Hi everyone, today we're learning about Math Investigations Unit 1, Lessons 1 and 2. And we're learning about things that come in groups. So we were learning about the top benchmark goal. If you look at the very top, it says we want to be able to demonstrate an understanding of multiplication and division as involving equal groups. And here's an example of what we'll be doing in this lesson. Here are 3 stars. Each star has 5 points. There are 15 points in all. And we can write this as a multiplication equation. 3 stars times 5 points on each star equals 15 points in all. So let's take a look at these pictures. If we ask ourselves how many are in each group, we would notice that this picture down here is of seasons, and we know there are 4 seasons in a year. So that's a group of 4. Up at the top, we have a picture of an octopus. And if we were to count the octopus tentacles, we would know that octopus have 8 tentacles, also known as legs. So we could say there's a group of 8 legs on an octopus. Down in the bottom picture, we see 5 fingers on a hand. So we might say that fingers come in groups of 5. And that's just like points on a star. There's 5 points on a star, so that's a group of 5 also. These hot dog buns come in a package of 8, so that's a group of 8 for hot dog buns. Mittens always come in a package of 2 mittens because we have 2 hands. So hands and mittens come in groups of 2. This picture is kind of funny because eggs usually come in a group of 12, and we call a group of 12 a dozen. But can you see what's wrong with this picture? This picture is actually only showing 10 eggs. That's kind of unusual. I would say that eggs come in a group of 12. What about these groups? We have 12 months to a year, 2 socks in a pair, 2 feet, 3 wheels on a tricycle, we have 5 players on a basketball team, we have 4 tires on a car, and up here represents that we need 10 pennies to equal 1 dime. So we have 10 pennies in a group, 4 wheels in a group, 5 basketball players, 3 tricycle wheels, 2 socks, and 12 months of the year. Can you think of things that come in pairs of 2s? We've mentioned a few. So in class, we talked about how we have 2 mittens, 2 gloves, 2 hands, 2 feet. We also have several things on our body that come in 2s, like 2 eyeballs, 2 ears. Let's continue. Here are some things that come in groups of 3s. I'm going to only talk about a couple. We can see really dark black. There's a triangle there, and we know there's 3 sides of a triangle. We pointed out the 3 wheels on the tricycle before. Do you hear something that's interesting between tricycle and triangle? And that tells us what the name of this object in the corner is. This is a tripod because it has 3 legs that holds up the camera. We have 3 leaves on a 3-leaf clover, 3 little pigs, 3 blind mice, and of course, if you're born as a threesome, then you're called triplets. Let's go on. What things might we see that come in 4s? We've mentioned a few already. We mentioned that there's 4 wheels on a tire. 4 wheels or tires on a car. We also know that there's 4 seasons. Can we think of any shapes that come with 4 sides? Have you thought any of in your head? How about a square or maybe a rectangle? Those have 4 sides. What things come in groups of 10s? Well, we noticed before that we need 10 pennies to make a dime. We also need 10 dimes to make a dollar, right? So that's another group of 10. You might have a set of markers that come in a box of 10 also. Here's an anchor chart that we can use that has lots of things that come in different groups. And when we think of things that come in groups, we want to think of things that usually come in that number. So socks usually come in a pack of 2 socks to the pair. And tricycles usually have 3 wheels on the tricycle. Some of you might say, what if somebody puts training wheels on a bike? Then it doesn't have 2 wheels, it has 4. And that's true, but that's kind of unusual, right? Someone would have to put training wheels on the bike. When we think of bikes in general, we think that they have two wheels. So that's the tricky thing about things that come in groups is, if I take one hot dog bun out of the hot dog bag, then I only have 7. But it didn't come that way. We want to think about how things normally come. And we can use this to help us figure out per word problems and see how many things that we have. For example, if there's 3 sides to a triangle, how many sides are in 2 triangles? Could we figure that part out? I would have 3 in this triangle, 1, 2, 3, and 3 here, 1, 2, 3, and 3 plus 3 equals 6. So I have 6 sides. What about in 3 triangles? I could skip count by 3s. 3, 6, 9. And what about 5 triangles? Again, I could skip count. 3, 6, 9. 9 plus 3 more is 12. 12 plus 3 more is 15. So I would have 15 sides in 5 triangles. How do groups help me solve real-world problems? I might have a problem that looks like this. There are 3 cars in the parking lot. How many wheels are there? And I would want to try to write on this problem. So I'm going to use these 3 sentences and fill in. Here are 3, I'm going to use my pen, 3 cars. Each car has 4 tires. There are how many in all? Well, I have 3 cars, but each car has 4 tires, 4 tires, 4 tires. So I would want to add the 4 plus 4 plus 4 to figure out how many total tires. And that would be 12 in all. Let's see if we can try another problem like that. Here's a problem where we have 4 bags of apples. And I see up at the top it says 4 bags of apples. I'm just going to circle where it says 4 bags. Each bag has 5 apples inside of it. How many apples are there in all? So if you notice, that means in these 4 bags, I have 5 apples here, 5 apples here, 5 apples here, and 5 apples in this bag. Let's see if we can fill in our sentences about our picture. Here are how many bags? 4 bags. We're going to fill in our sentence. Here are 4 bags. Each bag has 5 apples. There are how many apples in all? Well, we could count by 5s. Let's skip count by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20. So I have 20 apples in all. And I like to write the word apples there with it, so that the sentence says there are 20 apples in all. Just so I know that there's not 20 bags, there's 20 apples. Let's try another problem. How many fingers are there in 3 pairs of mittens? Well, this is an interesting problem because a pair of mittens means that I have 2 mittens. And I know that this one has 5 fingers and this one has 5 fingers. So I have to add those together in order to figure out that there are 10 total fingers on each pair of mittens. So if I have 10 fingers on the purple mittens, I also have 10 fingers on the dark gray mittens, and I also have 10 fingers on the striped mittens. So now I can see I could count by 10s. So let's fill in our sentence frame. Here are 3 pairs of mittens. Each pair has 10 fingers. And I know it's kind of messy, but okay. And last but not least, there are how many in all? Well, I have to count by 10. So I've got 10, 20, 30. I have 30 in all. What do I have 30 of? I like to write that word at the bottom. I have 30 fingers, not 30 mittens, 30 fingers. So my sentences would read, here are 3 pairs of mittens. Each pair has 10 fingers. There are 30 fingers in all. So our in-class activity would be to create an illustration about things that come in groups. And this is something you could do at home to practice. You're going to choose an item that you know comes in groups. Something like earrings, or which comes in a group of 2, or maybe bike wheels on a tricycle would come in a group of 3. Sides of a triangle would come in a groups of 3, or maybe pennies and a dime comes in groups of 10. And you're going to draw a picture. You are going to draw several of that items on your paper. Remember, if you're drawing pairs of socks, you're going to draw several pairs of socks, not just several socks. When you're done, you're going to try to write your 3 sentences about your picture. Last but not least, if you missed this lesson, we did practice independently on some problems in your math workbook. Here's what the second pages look like. We drew pictures of things that come in groups. We practiced fingers and eyes. And that was our first lesson.